Spreadsheets for Learning, Doing, and Using Math. Part 2, Using Cell Addresses. A cell in a spreadsheet, or variable in algebra, is a place to put a number. The address of a cell is its column letter, followed by its row number. In this spreadsheet, the top left cell has the address A1. The official term for a cell address is a cell reference because it refers to the number at that address. To use a number in a cell in a formula, just type its address. What does this calculation do? Equals A1 plus B1. What it does is it adds the number in A1 to the number in B1, giving you a 12. What happens if you change the numbers in A1 and B1? 500 plus 7 is actually 507. Notice this formula didn't change, the numbers did, and it still does the same thing, adding the number in A1 to the number in B1. The value of the formula automatically updates to the new numbers in A1 and B1. Let's do a unit price problem. One box of cornflakes costs $3.99 and weighs 18 ounces. Another box costs $2.99 and weighs 12 ounces. Which size box is a better buy? So I've already typed in some headings for the price, the weight, and the unit price. And I'm going to type in some additional headings to help me understand what I'm doing. Here's one row for the big box and a row for the small box. Okay, the price for the big box was $3.99. And it weighed 18 ounces. The price for the smaller box was $2.99, and its weight was 12 ounces. To get the unit price, you divide the price by the number of units. So I'm going to use a formula here, equals this number, which is B14, and divide that by this number, which is C14. And if I enter, I get 22 cents. What that means is that it costs 22 cents for each of the 18 ounces. Same thing for the second row for the small box. Divide by its weight was C15. Enter, and we get 25 cents per ounce. So that means that the smaller box, 1 ounce in the smaller box costs 25 cents, and 1 ounce in the bigger box costs 22 cents. So the bigger box is a better buy. There are many reasons to use cell references or addresses rather than typing numbers into a formula. For one thing, mistakes in typing numbers are easier to see and correct instead of being wrapped up in a big formula. There it is in its own cell. Sometimes numbers change. Maybe this calculation was for last year at the supermarket, and then the price has changed, and you don't have to repeat your work in doing the calculation, you just have to update the price. Often you need to use a number several times in your work. By using the cell address, you only have to type it once. And you can also set up a table that has addresses that tell you what the number is about. For example, here we had labels that said that the numbers in column B are prices, the numbers in row 14 are about the big box, and so on. So this is good for readability by you next year when you forgot what you did, or by another person who's reading your spreadsheet. Let's do another problem, this one involving percents. So here's a made-up election in which there were 3 candidates. The Republican candidate got 278 votes, the Democratic candidate got 256 votes, and the Green candidate got 58 votes. what percent of the vote did each candidate get. So to figure that out, I'll need the total. Okay. The total votes I would get by adding the votes for all three candidates. So equals B25 plus C25 plus D25. And the total votes is 592. To get the percent, you divide the number of votes for each candidate by the total votes. So that would be equals the number of Republican votes. Instead of typing in 278, I'm going to type in its address, B25, and divide by the total, which is E25. We'll deal with that scary-looking decimal later. Do the same thing for the Democratic candidate, equals number of Democratic votes is in C25, divide by the total, E25, and another decimal. Repeat for the Green Party, equals number of Green votes was D25, divide by the total, E25. Okay, so what do those numbers mean? Those are actually percentages written as decimals. So if you were doing this by hand, you would multiply each number by 100 to get it into percent form. But there's a shortcut in Spreadsheets. There's just a button you can click that will show the decimal as a percent. And so you look around for a percent button in your spreadsheet. Mine happens to be right here, looking very big and obvious. And it gives you several choices. I'll choose percent. There it is, 47%. Repeat for the other two. Okay. And I think just to check, the percentages should add up to 100, so I'm going to check that too. Equals B26 plus C26 plus D26 is 100%. Good. Here's a shortcut for using cell references in a formula. Instead of typing the address, click or tap in the cell and the address will be entered in the formula. I'm going to repeat the first calculation I did. So I want to be adding A1 and B1. So equals, instead of typing A1, I'm just going to click in cell A1 and it typed it for me. Plus, click in B1, there it is. Notice that the numbers are color-coded so you can tell that the red one, the red address, refers to the number in the red cell and the blue address refers to the number in the blue cell. This saves a lot of brain power. Instead of having to look up the addresses, oh, it's in column B and what row was it, you just point at it, that number. That's the end of the second video in the series. Open up a spreadsheet and practice what you've just learned.